To explain two main points from today's gospel on the cross, I'm going to take two women mystic saints. These two female mystics are Saint Faustina and Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich. Both women mystics had visions of the cross that we can read about and apply in our lives today. In today's gospel, Jesus teaches us, "Whoever does not take up his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." So let's go to that first main point on Sister Faustina, the apostle of divine mercy, to whom Jesus appeared in 1929 in Poland. In the diary of Sister Faustina wrote that she once had a vision of Jesus showing her three types of Christians carrying their crosses in the world. She wrote, quote, "I saw a multitude of souls crucified like him. Then I saw a second multitude of souls, and a third. The second multitude were not nailed to their crosses, but were holding them firmly in their hands. The third were neither nailed to their crosses nor holding them firmly in their hands, but were dragging their crosses behind them and were discontent. Jesus then said to me, 'Do you see these souls? Those who are like me in pain and contempt they suffer will be like me also in glory. And those who resemble me less in pain and contempt will also bear less resemblance to me in glory. Among the crucified souls, the most numerous were those of the clergy.' Then Jesus said, 'In your meditation, you shall think about what you have seen today.'" End quote. This is very applicable to today's gospel on carrying our cross. Which of the three are we in our lives? The first group were like Jesus crucified the most. We may not be literally nailed to a wooden cross or physically killed like many Catholics are being literally nailed or tied to a cross to die like in the Middle East, but the trials of our everyday life, or even people close to us in our family and friends, can spiritually crucify us on a cross. Are we on our cross now? Let Christ crucified give you strength, if so. In the second reading, St. Paul wrote to the Romans, "Are you not aware that we who are baptized into Christ Jesus were baptized into his death?" St. Paul also wrote that if we have died with Christ, we shall also live with him. So we see here, with the cross comes the resurrection. In St. Faustina's description of the second group, she saw these Christians who were not yet crucified on their cross, but they were holding their crosses firmly, as if they were the ones willing to take up their cross, but not yet crucified entirely. But here's what's interesting about the third of the three groups. In the third group, there were Christians neither crucified nor holding their crosses firmly, but they were dragging their crosses behind them. And here's the thing, they were discontent. They did not accept the cross that God had given them. This is a clear reference to whoever does not take his cross and follow me cannot be Jesus' disciples, because we will resemble Jesus less by not accepting our cross and dragging them behind us. All of us who are baptized cannot escape the cross. And the irony here, dear brothers and sisters, is that whoever loses his life by taking the cross will actually find life. Okay, so that's the first main point, Sister Faustina. For the second main point, we can briefly look to Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich's visions of the suffering and passion of Jesus Christ. This was about 150 years ago when she lived. In the Garden of Gethsemane, which is also the first sorrowful mystery of the Rosary, Blessed Anne Catherine saw in this vision that Jesus was shown all the sins of the world from the time of Adam all the way up to the end of the world before his second coming. And yet Jesus, after looking all these sins of you and of yours and mine, still took the sins of the world upon himself, even as the devil was tempting him not to die for sinners. And in fact, Jesus was strengthened in this vision when he had a vision of you and me eventually following him, and it gave him strength. In the second mystery of the Rosary, the scourging at the pillar, where Jesus was tied and whipped, he was beaten continually without relief. Jesus' silent groans in this vision of Blessed Anne Catherine were actually prayer for those that scourged his flesh physically with the spiritual sins against purity. At one point during this vision of the suffering of Christ, Jesus wiped his blood from his eyes to just look at his mother. In the crowning of thorns, which is the third sorrowful mystery, Jesus did not just experience physical pain with the crown of thorns, but insult to his injuries. If Jesus suffered these, we, his followers, will suffer these too. Now, in carrying the cross, the fourth sorrowful mystery, Blessed Anne Catherine saw that when Jesus was given his cross, he knelt down beside his cross. He embraced his cross, kissed it 3 times, and said a prayer of thanksgiving to his eternal Father for the redemption that he had begun. This is a model for us carrying our crosses, dear brothers and sisters. Finally, in the crucifixion and death of Jesus, the fifth sorrowful mystery, Jesus' mother was present in an intimate way, cooperating in the work of the Redeemer. Her heart, her immaculate and sinless heart, was pierced with a sword. All the virtues of the saints throughout time, our merits, our strength flow from Jesus' passion and death and resurrection. When we suffer, let us think of his own suffering and agony. Humanly speaking, we naturally are repelled at the thought of suffering on a cross and dying a gruesome death. But divinely speaking, we can turn our crosses of illness and sickness and everything throughout life into victory. Let us unite our sufferings to the passion of Christ. Let us bring our sufferings and labors to this Mass today, which is the celebration of the Lord's passion, death, and resurrection. Suffering is not useless. This is the Christian meaning of human suffering. Let these 2 women saints, Saint Faustina and Blessed Anne Catherine, help us carry our crosses so that we may live Jesus' words from today's gospel. Whoever does not take up his cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life by carrying the cross for my sake will find it.